welcome. It's Monday, so it's leaders in legacy and style, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I am Joy Ruffin, and it's always a pleasure to spend time and space with you. Every Monday, we bring to you a featured guest speaker, and today is no exception. I love learning and I love meeting and hearing other people's journey and other people's stories and what they're doing. The work that I do is as a leadership and signature style specialist, a speaker, executive producer, TV host, and podcast. I'm also a personal development strategist, and we're going to be talking a lot about that today with my featured guest speaker. But what I want you to do, my friends, because the time just flies here, whatever time it is, wherever you are, just sit back and relax and take in all of this goodness we're going to share with you. Let me share with you a little bit about my featured guest speaker. I adore her. She doesn't know it quite yet, but she'll get to know it. I had such a hard time with her first name. She was lovingly and patiently available to me to help me learn to pronounce it. It's Ouida, and I was not pronouncing it that way, Duncan. She is all about, we are about with you today, taking a bold awakening into all the newness that's coming about with the awakenings for many of us, especially those of us who are in and on the journey of discovery of life. Our featured guest speaker brings the next level of insight into energy coaching and emotional intelligence. You've heard me say over and over again, emotional intelligence, emotional security, and all the other emotionals that come into being. Well, we're going to talk briefly and bring them into the conversation today. I am honored to have this featured guest speaker with us today because her work fascinates me because it's aligned. And you know that most of the featured guest speakers that we bring to you, men and women, there is a connection. So I want you to just to sit back and relax and help me welcome our featured guest speaker, Ouida Duncan. Ouida, as they say in the movies, come on up. How are you? Can't hear you. No sound.
I'm fabulous, Joy. Very
good. You are fabulous. And thank you for your patience and your love, because I do have a hard time with pronunciations. When I was in grammar school and learning all the nouns and the verbs and the pronouns and A-E-I-O-U, I didn't get that. So I have a hard time, but thank you for your patience. I love your title. You're a leadership development coach and a CEO. So tell us a little bit about how that came about and what you're doing now.
Okay. So my background comes from 20 plus years in advertising as a senior marketing project manager. And in the last 8 years I was in advertising, I started a nonprofit called Duncan Tree Foundation. And as I left advertising, I decided to train to become a energy leadership coach. And what does that mean? I work with people to discover their full potential while at the same time releasing the things that are not working for them. And I use an assessment called the Energy Leadership Index Assessment, which helps people to see how they show up as leaders when all lights are green, and how do they show up as leaders when they hit speed bumps, and how do they handle stress. And so I work with people at mid-management, C-suite level, to really tap into their full potential and to help them figure out what is it that they want to do in their next chapter, and how do they want to do it well.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Not too long ago, I think it was last week, we had an energy coach here who was working more on a different level. But that appeals to me. And also what you added into that, Ouida, is that the emotional intelligence, which has a great part of anything that we're doing. You mentioned, or you gave me the power of personal transformation, and you spoke to that a wee bit in your description of what you're doing. But give us a little bit more in depth what this energy coaching does for each individual and how it really supports them in their growth and their evolving.
Sure. So we are all spiritual beings having a physical experience, and the 7 levels of energy that energy leadership coaches like myself work with have to do with catabolic and anabolic energy. Catabolic energy is dark, contracting, negative energy that works against us. And the mindset of people who have a lot of catabolic energy is a victimhood or antagonist. So when you have a lot of victim energy, you feel like you're never winning, everything is going wrong, and woe is me, the sky is falling. And people who have that type of energy, they get a lot of attention, but it's short-lived. Because if you think about, any big city that you go to, and you run across homeless people, guess what? They do get attention But if you see that same person for the next 6 months, after a while, you're going to be like, you know what? Something is wrong. Why aren't they help moving themselves in a different direction? And so the irony is, in order to get out of that mindset, people actually need the antagonist energy, which is anger, rage, and bitterness, to lift them out of that victim mindset, because they really want to do something about their circumstances. The problem with people that have a lot of antagonist energy, however, is that they wind up pointing the finger at everyone else. Everyone else is to blame for their circumstances. It's never them. It's always someone else. So they take zero responsibility for their actions. So in order for them to get out of that mindset, they
Uh-huh.
they need to go into the anabolic space. And anabolic energy is energy that is expansive, creative, healthy energy that works for you to propel you forward. And so I can go into a lot more detail if you want in terms of all of the other levels, but the ultimate level for every great leader has level 5 energy, and level 5 energy is collaborative energy, which is where you see opportunity everywhere, where people will say, oh my God, look at all those lemons. People that have a lot of level 5 energy say, you know what, look how much lemonade I can make, and they're really happy to embrace that. They look at possibility everywhere. They're never really discouraged. And the thing about people who have a lot of level 5 energy is that they look out for their people, and therefore their people look out for them. So it's a collaborative, we both win energy, or we don't play the game.
Ouida, I absolutely am enthralled with all of this for a lot of different reasons. I love your descriptions. You're very graphic, and that's good because I'm sure most people haven't heard of the catabolic and the antibiotic and all of that. Yet, one of the things that we all know is that most of us, never all, we seek attention. We want to be seen, heard, and valued. But how are we going about it? And emotional intelligence plays a big, big deal in that. And when you mention that when you're not doing the right type of attention, it's short-lived. And the power, I'm all about power, but power that emanates from within, that's full of genuine love, compassion, and all of that. I like level 5. Tell us a little bit more about level 5, because my aim is always to be at level 5, because I'm all about the team. I'm all about the extended family and looking out for each other. So what more can you share with us about the level 5 awareness and energy of being with others?
Now, I'm going to answer your question by talking about level 4 and 3, and because that'll help to set up the perspective, because
Absolutely.
there's 7 levels of energy in the Energy Leadership Index assessment.
Yes.
Level 3 energy is where we call it the rationalizer energy, because people get tired of being angry all the time, and they get tired of being victims all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally get to a space where they can forgive themselves and others.
Mm.
And when you get to a place where you can actually forgive yourself and others, now you're willing to cooperate with people. Where
Yes.
before you're repelled by people, everybody's your enemy when nobody's your enemy. So when people
Mm-hmm.
are exposed to more knowledge, information, opportunities, they are able to raise their level of awareness, which is really what emotional intelligence is. The more
Mm-hmm.
emotional intelligence someone has is the more self-aware they are, and the more aware they are of how other people are feeling and doing in a given situation. And the reason I wanted to talk about the levels that come before 5, the next one is level 4. Level 4 is the helper. People that have a lot of level 4 energy, they're really concerned about other people winning, and they're not really concerned about themselves winning. And I always
Mm.
say to people, if you have a lot of helper energy, be sure that you don't have leaky boundaries.
Ooh, I love that.
People
Mm-hmm.
that have leaky boundaries, they are wounded healers. And they wind up falling back down to the level 1, level 2, which is that catabolic space,
Mm-hmm.
because they become resentful of depleting themselves, pouring from an empty cup, and not necessarily taking care of themselves. So by the time someone's awareness is raised and they do get those healthy boundaries, now they're entering into the level 5 space, where because I have healthy boundaries, because I'm meeting my own needs, now I can take care of others in a way that I'm not depleting myself, and I'm able to take care of myself. And because the people that I'm around know that I really care about them,
Mm-hmm.
there is a reciprocity going on that's healthy and not depleting. So now I'm pouring out of a full cup versus an empty cup, which is always a healthier place to be.
I love that. And you know that leaky boundaries, I bet there are a lot of people in the 4 category, level 4, because getting to level 5 means that you've achieved balance. I take it to be very basic, simplistic language, Ouida, because I understand how most of us receive and take stuff in. You get to in another lane, you can lose people. But that leaky boundary thing that you mentioned about depleting, I bet that's common for a lot of people that you're working with who maybe feel that they're doing the best that they can in their leadership role. But the best that you can means that you're filling up your cup as well as supporting others. And that's the key. That's how the simplistic, the way that I see it. You know, this is very, very profound for most of us and deep, but we need this because this is truly a time of awakening. How have you found thus far working with men and women? Which gender do you feel comes to you with more wanting to fill up that cup and reach level 5? I'm not a sexist, so I don't care what you say.
I love that question. Let me tell you why I love that question. It's not a gender based
Yes.
need as much as it is a mindset need, and how much trauma any individual has suffered as a child.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We all have faced some kind of disappointment, but some of us have suffered really severe trauma
Mm-hmm.
that has caused us to walk around. I called it walking around with that dead body,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah,
body is stinking, it's smelling, it's rotting,
yeah, yeah.
but we're not going to let go of it because we want some type of reciprocity. We want to avenge ourselves,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
even if it means carrying that dead body, that dead weight, the unforgiveness that we felt towards people and circumstances. So it's not necessarily male versus female. It's more about how much work has this person done on
Yes,
themselves? When did they have the realization that the healing has to start with them?
yes.
And how much work have they been willing to do on themselves to be delivered from that pain?
Oh, I love that.
Because I personally I've suffered a lot of trauma, but I've been very intentional about my healing journey. So
Yes.
whether it was, psychotherapy, whether it was doing the landmark education curriculum for living, where I learned how to forgive myself and others way back then, whether it was the Hoffman process, which it required me to get on a flight, take a several hour bus ride from San Francisco to White Silver Springs in Napa Valley to be with other people for 7 full days to work on the negative love patterns I learned from my parents, and
Yes.
then finally being able to forgive them. So I think,
Rita. Yes, 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 yes. I have to interject here for a second because all that you're sharing with us, this richness that you're sharing, the brilliance of knowing this, it all goes back to, no matter how you verbalize it, to that forgiveness. And you start with forgiving yourself and then everybody else. And then you don't blame anybody for your stuff. You open to it, you receive it. Just like I said to you in the beginning, pronunciation. So own it and then have people help you, support you with it.
Right.
I love this. Listen, my love, let me take a quick break and then I want to come back to you. And I want us to talk about what you gave me, which is leadership, style, and influence. We spoke to it a wee bit here now, but I want to go deeper. So
Okay.
let's take a quick little break. My engineer is going to put you in the green room and I'll be back with you in just a second.
Awesome.
This information that Ouida, I finally got her name right, is sharing with us is platinum. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, no matter what level you might be at, be open to receiving this for others that might need it. And we're going to show you a little bit later a graphic of hers. But for now, I want you to join the Facebook group, which she's a member of. And if she's not, I'm going to be disappointed. I'll make sure that she is. I'll ask her. I'm inviting her now. Leading ladies, leaving legacies. Because your vision, your mission, and your purpose, it matters. We're a community. We're a group of people, women, females, ladies who are supportive and collaborative with each other. And this is why we want you to come and join us there. There's another community that I belong to. By the way, I hope you take a screenshot and a snapshot of everything that we're showing you here today in the graphics. But this group that I belong to, it's called the Great Discovery. It's one of the best global communities that you could be a part of. I'm just beginning to get in and get my wings ready to fly. And I want you to go any weeknight, any week, Monday through Friday, from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can go in with the link here, take again a screenshot or a snapshot, and join us there. And you'll get a feeling, because isn't the universe ruled by emotions, music, love, and dance? But you'll take a screenshot, and then you'll be able to get there anytime that you want to, and you'll be able to get a better feeling of what this is all about. And then Ouida's graphic is coming up. This is a mind-blowing opportunity for you. It ends the end of this month. Woohoo! But you claim your spot now, and you'll be able to get more, I like the word juicy, information, which is platinum and powerful, that will give you more insights about your journey, wherever you're at on it at this point in time. So again, take a screenshot, take a snapshot, and we'll put it up again towards the end so that you can have more to work with, and you'll make sure that you connect with Ouida. In the meantime, Ouida, let's go back now, because I really want to talk about, because I'm all about signature style, but not just the exterior. It goes for me much deeper than that, and the women that I work with. So let's talk about leadership style and influence, and the interaction of how that plays out in personal branding with the people that you work with.
That's right. So when people, just sticking with the energy leadership format for a second, when people lead with catabolic energy, they can lead short term, but after a while, when they're forceful and they're basically not good listeners, when it's all about them and them winning, and manipulating situations to their advantage and not looking out for their people, people don't leave the job, they leave their boss.
Yes.
So if you're a leader that's selfish, that doesn't listen, that you take credit for everyone else's work, that you can get promoted, you're going to have a revolving door in your company. But if you're a leader that looks out for your people, because you're really there in service of your team, and when your team feels supported, when they feel heard, seen, supported, listened to, their loyalty will be tremendous, and they will automatically help you to grow, because they understand that, they understand a reciprocity, and they want you to win as well.
Ouida, that is so powerful what you just said, because power is at the top in my list of 5 words that I use constantly. And it's a word that we, and I'm not generalizing on a sexist basis, we as women need to own more of our own power. But what you just spoke about how we own it and how we are more supportive is what we all need to come to. And especially, again, I say this over and over, I am repetitive. I'm not a sexist, but we as women need to learn that more. We need to embrace that more, because we have backed away from our power. And forgiveness, again, this plays deeply into what you're sharing with us. So continue. Catabolic. It's deadly. Deadly.
Yeah, catabolic energy is deadly in your personal life and in your career and in your business. Customers, let's say you're an entrepreneur and you have customers. Customers will stick with you, and they'll refer people to you when they know that you have integrity
and you care about them.
People want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. And if people don't trust you, they're not going to refer anyone to you. As a matter of fact, they will probably post negative reviews on whatever platform, which will hurt your business.
Right. Or never say anything at all, and don't support you in any way, and won't even say to you. So that's your first signal right there. Tell us about the leadership style and influence, and how that plays out as you have seen it thus far in the work that you're doing.
So I've worked with people. So a lot of my clients are either in the process of doing their MBA, because I went to the University of Bath in the UK, and I got my MBA there.
Uh-huh.
And I work with people who I help them to understand their values, which is really important, because if you're
Mm-hmm.
clear about your values, when you are aligned with your own personal values, you're going to go far. It's what happens when people get out of alignment, when people are chasing dollars and not necessarily looking to grow personally.
Uh-huh.
People can tell when you are grounded and mature in your understanding, which goes back to that emotional intelligence piece.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
People, it's pretty apparent when you walk into the room. People can feel your energy, right? So I'm sure if you think about people that you've been around, Joy, that have been, integrous, kind, curious, those are the people that attract more people to them. And when you're in a room where the person is not curious and it's all about them and and performing and all of that, that's when we know, they tend to repel people. So it's really important to be very aware of who you are and what you value, and how that's translating with other people.
I completely, not that I always do, but I agree with that, because I always use the verbiage. It's the same, different verbiage is verbiage, rhetoric is rhetoric, but know thyself. And that's what you're about, and your value, what you value. What I'm discovering, and I'm not a negative person at all, and I'm not judging it, but I feel it, I see it, and I hear it. Somehow language I had a moment yesterday where I could watch a show, Ouida, and you will love this. And the show, the script, the writing, and everything was, except every sentence had a four-letter word in it. It's become the way of speaking. I don't give a F, I don't give a F. And I'm saying, what happened to us? Where's the morality? I'm not talking about old school back in the day, but what happened there? That's a sense of worth that hasn't been fully realized. So what do we don't judge it, but we see it, we hear it, we feel it. Where do we go with that sense of morality? Because power, when it's done right, the morality, the morals are in place. Maybe not back in the day, but
Right.
they're in place. So what can you share with us about that? Because this was, and you could say, well, she's an older lady and she's a happy senior, and you can use whatever verbiage you want to, but I'm saying this is not necessary. We still have young kids to have them aspire. What happened? What's happened to us in that regard?
So what you're talking about is the erosion in the society, in a society that lacks morals is heading towards decadence, and is heading towards extinction.
Yes.
And so I think it's upon us to reinforce
So do I.
why those values are important,
Yes.
and that you have longevity when you're living in a just and moral society. So without coming across as being pompous or preachy,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
there's something, the name of your podcast is Leaders and Legacy and Style,
Mm-hmm.
right? When we lack grounding, when we lack values, when we lack morals, the legacy that we're leaving behind will reflect that.
Absolutely.
And the opposite is true. So, I would love for my legacy to be to teach people how to tap into their superpower.
Ooh, I love that. Well, that's a buzzword now, Ouida, that superpower, because I've always said everyone has greatness and the gift and the genius within them. It's just a matter of discovery. And it's not about perfection. It's about perfecting whatever that gift or genius might be. Let's end with this. The time flies. You and I could go on and on and on. We don't have to do it just through the tube here. And we won't. We'll get to know. But tell us a little bit about, you spoke to it. You've alluded to it. But let's end with this: revolutionizing education, coaching the next level to success. So speak a little bit about that, because that's what you're doing.
I love
It goes back to the grounding and the erosion and being you to put out what needs to be. I love it. Yes.
My team and I, so the charity that I alluded to earlier, Duncan Tree
Yes.
Ventures, we've been around for 17 years, and we are in the process of launching a pilot for coaching and mentoring young people, but really
Oh, I love that.
communities on emotional intelligence. So for those of you who are out there who are looking for a charity to support, go to duncantree.org. We're developing the In the Middle program where we're going to coach young people starting in high school, parents, teachers, and first year college students and first year nursing students on what is it, where do you find the source of your strength?
Yes.
Who are you really? Who are you when you fall? And how are you going to have the right tools to pick yourself up? And how are you going to keep yourself inspired? How do you create community so that when you do fall, that there are others that are ready, willing, and able to pick you up as you're learning to pick yourself up?
I think that's profound. And that is something that you're really in the right lane now, because I don't think that you have to get to be a happy senior to realize and see and feel this, but it's really needed now because this awakening and the erosion that's happened for all the different reasons. My hubby, Ouida, would say, when Casual Friday came into being, everything dropped. It began to erode because the looseness of it. And I get that to an extent, but it went too far. And now we can see it in different arenas. How does the founder of White River Consulting, how does that fit in with what you're doing now?
So my White River Consulting is where I do my coaching business out of, and business development. So I have clients who are either CPAs or surgeons and or run a high-end hair salon that when I met them, they had 4 locations and now they have 8. And they have over 100 employees. I work with their leadership team. So White River Consulting is the business I use for my coaching and my business development. And having an MBA gives me that advantage. And Duncan Tree is my charity, which is 17 years old now. And we are, back in the day, people know us for our spine surgery. We used to do free scoliosis surgery for kids. So if you had a 50 to 135 degree curve, we were like the Doctors Without Borders for spine surgery. So I would organize medical missions to go to the Philippines, Jamaica, and Trinidad to do free spine surgery for kids.
I love that. I did read that in your bio. Good for you. That's the work that you're doing is admirable. There's no doubt about it. Where are you based? Not that we're global now. We're everywhere, all of us. But where are you based?
So I'm physically in New York, but I call myself a global citizen. I'm educated in Jamaica, New York, and the UK.
I kind of figured that much. I saw that. I think you mentioned that to me before. I think the work that you're doing is stupendous. I want my engineer to put up your poster. I want you to speak to that a wee bit. And then, Ouida, what is it you want us to walk away with? What is it you want the takeaway to be? What other pearls of wisdom, gems, do you want to leave us with? I'm going to ask my engineer to put up your poster. I want that to be seen. And then just speak to what you want people, all of us, to embrace, embody, and embed within ourselves.
Right. You are not your worst day. You are not what other people who want to share negativity about the mistakes that you've made. You are not those things. You are who you say you are. And when you're ready to find the tools that you need to tap into your full potential, don't be afraid to step out on faith to do the thing that you're called to do.
I love that. That's the first time I've heard that, Ouida, and I'm going to take it with your permission, which I know I have. You are not. You're not any of the negative, weak, kind of loose, whatever thinkings that you might have. You are, take yourself to the highest realm, because that's where you are. That's the gift that you were given. I love that. Thank you for your time and space. I love what you brought. And there's so much more to share. And the time goes here so quickly. I keep saying maybe I'll extend it to an hour, but I have something else I want to invite you to, because your work is really, I know in my heart and soul, needed. And I appreciate all the wisdom you share with us today. My engineer is going to scoot you away, and I'll be with you in a second. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness gracious, as someone said many years ago, moons ago. I cannot tell you how I get excited each and every week when I bring to you a featured guest speaker who's so full of wisdom and love And the power within them, they're open, like she said, to share. That's the best power that you can share. That's filled with love and caring. So friends, this is the beginning of a new week. Make it the best week ever. Take your time to navigate through the cycles of your life and be open to change, because that's what life is really all about. We grow, we evolve. Be and stay well, and know that I send you each and every week from my heart. By the way, join us every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. From my heart to your heart, much, much love. Until the next time, all the best. Much love. Cheers.